I know who rides with Theod in a Frohan. Oh yes, word has reached my ears of this Aragorn. I will not bow to this ranger from the north.
Authority is not given to you to deny the return of the king, steward.
The return of Akihabara auctions. Akihabara. Hey, it's Brian from Vinyl Paints. So it's been a crazy last couple of months, and I haven't abandoned my animation series, I just haven't had a chance to finish it. I noticed that my multi-part series seems to do terribly, so I think I'm just going to combine it into one giant video to wrap up the series. Anyways, I noticed that we're coming up to Akihabara's big 2-day anime auction, and I thought this would be a good time to look at my wings from the last auctions, because I haven't made that video yet, to see if we can learn anything, and maybe a peek at some of the interesting pieces from this auction. I've already done a video breaking down the purchasing experience with Akihabara, and this time around, it was a very similar experience. I'm going to include some footage of my live bids and other interactions during this auction, but if you're interested in a breakdown, I'll put a link in the description below to my more in-depth video that I made on Akihabara auctions. The 24th Akihabara auctions had some amazing lots in it. There were these film, I don't know what they were, whether they were negatives or what you would call them. I'm wondering whether these are the actual photographs taken of the cell used to actually compile the film. They had one for Pokemon as well as Princess Mononoke. I tried to win the bid, but it was way more than I was willing to pay for it. I did win 3 lots. The first lot I won was Fushigi Yugi Cell. I'm unfamiliar with this series, but the piece was so captivating. It's a close-up of a character crying, and it had a little bit of a shadow on the nose that kind of reminded me a little bit of Anime Blush, and I just really was captivated by this piece, so I wanted to know more about it. The second set was Osamu Tezuka works. Once again, I'm not the most knowledgeable person when it comes to anime, but I know that I've seen this work before, and it's kind of considered a classical foundation of anime, and I figured because this one was like snippets of little pieces all over the place, it went for relatively low cost, and I thought this might be a great point for me to kind of study it and learn it. And the final one, which I call my consolation prize, but in no way am I disappointed with that, is a cell from Princess Mononoke. So I don't normally record these with sound because it's a little bit difficult of a setup. I have so many wires running, but this one has so much going on with it that I kind of wanted to unpack it as I kind of went through it, because there's just so much going on with this. This looks like a relatively simple scene, but it's actually probably one of the most complicated cells I've come across in my cell collection. I think I counted it, and I think I counted right. It's actually a 5-layer setup. So that in itself is kind of amazing. And the first layer, judging, is just the, it seems that it's just the teardrops. Some of these are kind of stuck together, so we're going to try to do our best to examine. And okay, so the line art is still done on the top cell, on the top of the cell, but the fill is done on the back. So you can see here that where it's come off on this side a little bit, there's a little bit of green here that just kind of separated onto the back side of this that was probably on the top. So the green that has a little bit more texture in the white are on top of the cell, and all this is kind of painted below, and I'm guessing the line work is done too. You really can't see more. The second layer is pretty much the same from what I can tell. I don't have access to everything, except for it's the left eye this time. This cell's amazing. Oh, and here's a good little. So this is a good indication of what the eye looks like without the thing. So this is the third. We're now looking at the third layer. Remember, the first layer is just the teardrop. The second layer is the other teardrop from the other eye. And this one here, you're getting all this amazing work. And all these outlines, this is all done by hand. I can feel it. These, I think are printed or something else. Still amazing though, that they use so many layers. And It's amazing how many layers they have without like fogging, I guess, without, because you know, I get 2 or 3 layers in and I can already tell the fogging. And even though this has a little bit of fogging, in the grand scheme of things, it's not that much. So now we're going into the 4th layer here. We're going to see what's different here. And this one seems to be, okay, so this 4th layer seems to just be the chin shadow and the mouth. The mouth, it's kind of stuck here. I'm not going to force it too hard. I don't want to wreck this. I mean, this was a... It seems to be stuck in this mouth area, so it's definitely the mouth. Yeah, it's just the mouth. I don't want to risk it. And you can see here how this has come off on this layer. That is usually a very, like, I don't know, maybe you can't see on this thing, but there's a little bit of where the line art is here of the red from the tongue, from the shadow and the light, from the light and the shadow, pardon me. And that's a good way of telling that the line art was actually done on top of the cell, as opposed to that one random one we saw last time where they did it below. Really amazing. And then on the bottom one, it seems to be the majority of the face, and I can't really tell. Sorry here, just got to be very, very careful. It does look like the face, including that shadow, is on the back side, which is really cool. This is like a lot of layers to achieve one shot. I'm almost surprised that they didn't do both of the tiers on one single layer, but I guess it gives them more control. Really kind of a cool thing. I'm really liking the cell. It's awesome. If we look at it, flip it over the back side, we can kind of learn a little bit more. And it is kind of amazing that it's such an emotional piece, and if you look at it, they're only using about 4 colors on the majority of this. You can tell here also that even though the eyes are on a different layer, because there's no bulking here. It's relatively smooth, which means there's only 1 layer of paint on that. They may have done this paint on the shadow part of the, I don't really know exactly what we'd call that. Like, it's usually like, if it was blushing, it'd be like the anime blush. But that's actually done on, it looks like it's done on the other side, on the top side. I'd love to be able to get a look at those eyes, because the one thing that I've always found absolutely amazing about anime is they just do an amazing job on these eyes. So I am gonna guess that probably the 4th layer, this layer here is, yeah, so the 4th layer is the eyes, as I suspected. You can't really, unfortunately it's stuck pretty good there, and I don't want, the eyes are the best part about this, so. But it's amazing, like all the stuff we just learned from this, this one little piece. It's amazing. This is what makes cell animation wonderful. I'm fascinated to see, this isn't my only Studio Ghibli cell. I'll have to go through those one day, but I'm kind of curious because you always learn a little bit more every time you do it. It's 12F paper. That's what I think is one of the, it's not, well, it could be a different size. It might be, because it feels more wide. This right here is a 12F cell. If I zoom out. And if I hold it up to it, it looks like, yeah, it's just, so I guess I'm learning something different today, because that anime probably uses a different size, because like this is a 12F sheet right here. And this looks like it's maybe, yeah, just about 3/4 of an inch bigger. It's definitely smaller than 16F, or maybe it could be 15F. I don't think so though. I think it's smaller than that. Whoops. And if I look here, yeah, it's about an inch. So it's probably, I don't know if this is a standard anime standard anime practice, whether they change it up in all the scenes. But this is also one of those things that, you know what, it might be useful forever checking out. If we keep a record of this, like Ghibli stuff are some of the scarier cells for me to buy because they go for so much money. Like even this shot here, I'm not, you know, it was way more than I would normally spend on a cell. I think it was a consolation prize. And this, like I said, it's way more than what I would normally spend, but it's because it's Ghibli. And when it's that expensive, you end up with the chance of probably, there's a chance you have it can be forged. Now, I'm not saying this one's forged, that's not what I am, but I'm saying the more information we have, the more information when we're buying from other sources, whether something's legit. So it looks like this is about, so it looks like the page is just under 14 inches. By 9 inches. So if you have any Ghibli shots from this scene, it should be matched, should be roughly the same. Now let's go into this and see how they actually did this painting. I'm positive here that we're dealing with printed line art. The only reason why I'm suspecting that is because right here, we're seeing, I don't know if we can make that out here, but there's some peeling away, and that's usually very much like they used some sort of printing process. They're not hand inking the cell on the top. The gray marks that you see here are actually done on top, and so is that very fine line art on the arms and between the hands. And that's, I've been cell painting for like 2 years now, and this is making me a little jealous with how amazing they are with this work. We're going to try flipping this and seeing what's on the other side. I'm always amazed whenever I get like a cell to see how transparent they are. I always try to, I'll do a second layer if I see too much of the line art. I just want it to last a little longer, be a little bit more vibrant. But that's kind of the nature of cell painting, where it was just a means to an end for a lot of these things. So as long as it was good enough to use, that was kind of it. So like I said, they did the dark here first, then they did the lights. Same with the shadow, they put the shadow down first. Hair went down, then skin. So it looks like their process is hair, skin, clothing. Oh, no. The arms were done before the skin color. I wonder if this was done in an assembly line. It kind of feels like it just by judging by the way that they did this. But I guess there's no way I'll 100% know for sure. Amazing piece. I'm happy I added to my collection. The Osamu Tezuka works that you're seeing here right now, they had been marked as having a vinegar smell, which I assume is vinegar syndrome. I just didn't know what really to expect, but when I opened it, I never really experienced vinegar syndrome on any of my cells, so as soon as I opened it, I kind of started to panic and was freaking out. So even though I'm looking here like I'm making a lot of notes, most of it was me like, should I quarantine this? What should I do? And I better do more research. Everything's fine. But the main note of this is that I really fell in love with the grayscale character. It kind of reminds me of the luchadors I did in an earlier video. But I'm going to do a follow-up video on these works particularly at a later time. Akihabara's upcoming 2-day auction has some amazing pieces. There's a lot of Ghibli studio stuff this time, and I know not to get my hopes up or eye any particular piece because most of the time it's going to go for well outside of whatever I'm able to afford.
One art, please.
If I have my eye on one thing during this auction, it's those photo frames or those photo strips, films, or those photo cells. And the reason why is because there's one part of the animation process that's really been a mystery for me, and that's how they actually took the photograph of these cells. I understand rostrums and multiplane cameras, but what kind of film stock did they use? Did they use lenses? What kind of lenses did they use? What kind of camera did they use? I know towards the end they started to use scanners and stuff, but before that, they were taking individual photographs. And the lenses that they used and the film stock that they used would have had a great effect on how the cell appeared on camera. And I feel like this might be possibly a way of understanding that or unraveling that mystery a little bit. I have so many more videos on the way, but till then, thanks for watching. I'm Brian, and this is Vinyl Paints.